Last month, UN Climate Conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, concluded with an agreement calling on developed countries to deliver at least $300 billion per year to developing countries by 2035 to drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions and protect lives and livelihoods from the worsening impacts of climate change. Well, still in this week's edition of Green Angle, we examine the outcome of the summit and what the future holds for developing countries. Welcome. I am Esther Mopariola. "79 sea turtles The risk of flooding has shifted to Estella and southern Navarra, with authorities closely monitoring the situation. In Logroño, the city council is keeping a close eye on the Ebro River, which is expected to reach over 1,000 cubic meters per second in the coming hours. Residents in flood-prone areas have been urged to stay away for their safety, as emergency teams remain on high alert. Now, Lagos State is stepping up its fight against climate change, and at the recently concluded COP29 summit, state officials unveiled plans to tackle the growing impacts of climate change in the coastal city. They announced new investments to tackle their climate action goals and called on everyone to play a part in creating a healthy
really, for me, it doesn't hold water. I'll tell you why. You need to have an industrial boom in a country that has to develop, right? You need manufacturing. Manufacturing will not happen on solar panels. You will mitigate the emission impact of manufacturing. While you are mitigating this, you must make them pay to pollute, right? So in Lagos, for instance, our law has polluter pay principle embedded. And it is not just it doesn't encourage people to pollute. It really just makes them more cautious because you know that the more pollution you have, the more you will pay. Also, it means that if you install pollution abatement facility, you will pay less, right? So they are deliberate with installing pollution abatement facility. Also, there will not be 100% coverage of pollution. It doesn't happen. Stoppage of pollution. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. What we're saying is we will measure your carbon footprint and make you pay for the excess that you have generated. You will pay in many ways. First one will be, direct financial payments. The second one will be carbon offset programs like, providing clean cooking for women, planting trees, and a couple other things. So you will pay for polluting in Lagos and in Nigeria.
Niger State is making moves in the fight against climate change by partnering with a German consulting firm to tap into the carbon market. Meanwhile, activists are calling for real action, not just promises, warning that climate change impacts everyone and demands urgent, inclusive solutions.
Niger State has taken a bold step towards maximizing its carbon
carbon project that has additional co-benefits for the people rather than waiting for multilateral, bilateral, programmatic finance institutions that
Little available resources in those places, and you see it breeds a lot of tension, and also the issues of boundary disputes, because as you begin to move because of displacement, you get into other people's territory and is breeding a whole. So climate change is not only impacting the lands, it is also eroding cultures.
Green Angle returns in just a moment. Stay with us. Next, we had a chat with the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on climate change and circular economy, and she shared perspectives on the outcomes of the COP29 summit and how it aligns with the state's
for us is not for us to sit on funds. It's not our purpose. So when we saw the output from the negotiation room, what it just says on one end is that it's time for us to start being introspective, building up on our own resources that are available to us, and how can we begin to harness those resources, for our own use. But on the back end, we also know that to access these funds, you must have the right structures, you must have the right tenets, you must be able to capture the necessary data backed by compliance under the provision of the UNFCCC Article 6.4. These are what is needful for you to say that you're structuring yourself as a business. So our partners are engaged on that basis. We engage with them to be able to provide the projects that can help them to drive the Article 6.2 or 6.4 compliance that they require to play in the carbon market. It's great. It's great to negotiate these figures, but it's even greater for us to be able to identify the vehicles that we're going to use to be able to access. And it sits within the space of education. It sits within the space of knowledge. We must improve our knowledge in how to be able to ensure that our projects are touching on what is needful. For instance, it is part of the policy, even when Biden came into office. And one of the things that he mentioned within his plans, within his framework for sustainability, was a clean cooking stove that that was to be run in Africa, right? Clean cooking stove is almost like a silver bullet, because if we are able to establish clean cook stove, we will address the issue of deforestation. We will address the issue of health that is declining on a daily basis. We will improve the quality of life of our communities. We can also, to a great extent, open up the space for business opportunity, for job employment within that space. There's no way you want to establish or you want to be able to foster resilience if you're not adapting to the shocks, from a global or from a domestic perspective. And instructively, there was a roundtable a few days ago about how we're going to develop and mitigate these shocks that are prevailing upon us. I think that for us to be able to drive this and engender as much, if I can use the word connectivity, or engender as much impact, participation from our communities, then we need to let them know what they stand up against. 2025, if you know the budget, it was called the budget of sustainability. And what it means is that sustainability has become the bedrock of how we can build resilience. Those things that we used to do within a linear economy framework, we need to start to redimension. We need to start to reorientate our minds and understand that resource efficiency is very, very important right now. Minimal waste in processes and systems is really, really critical. Supply chains, even in the area of machinery and equipment, we must become very, very innovative in how we can begin to utilize and basically just help our businesses to be recycle our businesses, recycle our machines, recycle the purpose of the deliverables within our systems as well. Establish a coalition, of machinery in terms of funding, in terms of resources, in terms of intelligentsia, in terms of innovative solutions, where what we need as a government is to be able to provide that enabling infrastructure for the connectivity between people, community, and the private sector. It is from the private sector that we can get the funding, and that pipeline would have to go into the MSMEs, the nano and the micro MSMEs. And these micro and nano MSMEs are the ones that interface directly with the communities. When they start to interrogate, or when they start to interact, that exchange creates a burgeoning where the ones that are scaling are able to see that there are business opportunities. When businesses are able to expand their operations, people get more jobs onto their table. They get food onto their plates. If they are gainfully employed, they develop in skills. We need to drive the essence. We need to position businesses in the communities. It is the businesses that will open up the gateway. They will open up the pipeline. They will drive the commerce, and in driving the commerce, the data can also be captured because they are knowledgeable about that, and it is that data that they then use for regenerative finance.